Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Is Matthew Atkinson coming back to The Bold and the Beautiful as Thomas Forrester this summer? B&B viewers haven't saw Hope Logan's ex since last year on the CBS soap. Last we knew, Thomas was living in Paris and getting married to Paris Buckingham Diamond White. Will he make a special trip home to attend his parents' wedding? Here's what's coming up this summer on Bold and Beautiful. Spoilers down below. It has been ages since Thomas Forrester Matthew Atkinson dumped Hope Logan Anika Noel and left town to start a new life. There were even rumors floating around that the soap was looking to recast the role and bring the character back full time. But nothing ever came of those. Will Ridge Forrester, Torsten Kay, and Taylor Hayes Rebecca Budig be what finally brings their son back home? Thomas Forrester and Steffi Forrester Jacqueline McInnes Wood have always been close to their parents. It is no secret that the brother and sister duo have yearned for years for their parents to get back together and remarried. It would be hard to believe that he wouldn't want to be a part of their big day. Besides, if they have a large traditional wedding at the Forrester mansion, then they might even want Thomas to be his father's best man at the altar, even if he isn't a part of the main event. His mom Taylor will need someone to walk her down the aisle and give her away. Bold and Beautiful spoilers hint: now is a perfect time for Thomas Forrester to return, because Hope Logan also has a wedding coming up. When Thomas flies back to LA for his parents' idols, will he crash? Hope and Carter Walton's Lawrence St. Victor big day too. Do you miss Thomas on B&B? Is it time for him to return? The sound of violins filled the Forrester estate. Sunlight pouring through the French doors and bathing the grand living room in a golden glow. Brooke Logan's portrait had been taken down again. In its place hung a tapestry of white roses, symbolizing fresh starts, pure love, and, maybe, forgiveness. Yes, The Bold and the Beautiful was once again preparing for a Forrester wedding. This time, the guests whispered excitedly about Ridge and Taylor. It was the reunion no one had dared to hope for. After years of betrayals, heartache, and broken trust, the parents of Thomas and Steffi Forrester had finally found their way back to each other. But the most surprising twist wasn't the wedding itself. It was the unexpected return of Thomas Forrester, sharper, quieter, and shrouded in mystery. Scene 1. A whisper at the mansion. Steffi adjusted her silver earrings and studied her reflection in the mirror of her childhood bedroom. "Are you sure this is really happening?" she whispered to Finn, who was buttoning his shirt beside her. He smiled. "Your parents deserve this. No more drama, just love." But Steffi wasn't sure. As much as she wanted to believe it, her gut twisted. She hadn't seen her brother in over a year. Not since his dramatic exit from Los Angeles following Hope's rejection and his fall from Forrester Creations. That was, until this morning. He had arrived at the mansion without a word of warning, black suit, sculpted jaw, and something darker in his eyes. "I'm here for Mom and Dad," he'd said, hugging her stiffly. Nothing more. But Steffi couldn't shake the feeling. Thomas was hiding something. Scene 2. Reunion with Ridge and Taylor downstairs. The Forrester patriarch stood in front of the fireplace, fiddling with his cufflinks. Taylor came down the staircase, wearing a simple champagne-colored dress, her hair swept elegantly back. "You nervous?" Ridge asked. "Only that you'll change your mind and elope with Brooke again," she teased. They both laughed, but the shadow of Brooke Logan still hovered in the room. Ridge had made it clear. He was done with Brooke's endless waffling. The Logan Forrester to Gavor. This time, it was about family. "Mom, Dad," came a voice from the archway. They turned, and there stood Thomas. His presence struck them silent for a beat. Ridge crossed the floor first, pulling his son into a long embrace. "You came," Ridge said, voice hoarse. "I wouldn't miss this," Thomas replied. Taylor blinked back tears. "We weren't sure you'd heard." Thomas forced a smile. "I've been traveling, but I knew I had to be here today. You two deserve this." But as he hugged his mother, his eyes drifted over her shoulder toward a sealed envelope in his jacket pocket, one that could destroy everything. Scene 3. Old flames and new dangers outside. The terrace was being decorated in fresh florals, the Forrester staff buzzing about like bees. Carter arranged the seating while Eric played peacemaker between a bickering Donna and Pam. Then came the unexpected guest. Hope Logan. She walked in wearing a pale blue dress, her presence drawing gasps. No one had expected her to show, especially not after her history with Thomas. "Hope," Steffi said, walking over cautiously. You're here. Hope smiled gently. I thought I should be. Ridge and Taylor. They matter to all of us. And, maybe, this is a way to heal. Thomas appeared just in time to overhear. His breath caught. Hope turned. Thomas. Their eyes locked for the first time in a year. The moment felt suspended in time. Around them, conversations dulled to white noise. You look well, Hope said quietly. You, too. There was a beat. You staying long? She asked. He hesitated. Just for the wedding. But that wasn't true and she knew it. Scene 4, Secret Conversations. Later, in the Forrester guest house, Thomas paced. He had returned to LA with a mission, but the closer he got to his family, the more unsure he became. He pulled out the envelope again. Inside were documents, emails, and photos, proof that someone had manipulated Ridge and Taylor's reconciliation. Not Brooke this time. Someone worse. He was about to burn the envelope when Steffi burst in. What are you doing in here? She asked, narrowing her eyes. Just thinking. She stepped forward. Thomas, I know that look. You're lying. What is going on? He sighed. If I tell you, you have to promise not to tell Mom or Dad. Steffi braced herself. What, now? Thomas handed her the envelope. Her eyes widened as she read the first email. This is from Daphne. Daphne, Taylor's new assistant, young, stylish, and far too invested in Ridge's schedule, had inserted herself into their parents' lives like a silent storm. She's not who she says she is. Thomas said. I hired a private investigator. She's been manipulating their meetings, intercepting Brooke's texts, and even altering Taylor's therapy notes. Steffi's hands trembled. Why? I don't know, but I think she wants to control them. Or maybe she's targeting the family. Steffi looked at him, shocked. So what do we do? Thomas stared at the altar being constructed outside. We wait until after the wedding, and then we expose her. Scene 5. The wedding begins. The guests arrived, their seats arranged in elegant rows beneath a cascading canopy of roses. The Forresters, Logans, and Spencers gathered, tentative but hopeful. Taylor stood at the edge of the garden, bouquet in hand. Eric walked her down the aisle while Donna dabbed tears from her eyes. Finn held Hayes on his lap as Steffi sat beside them, unreadable. And Thomas stood just behind Ridge, the best man once again. The minister began. We are gathered here today to celebrate the union of Ridge and Taylor. Everything seemed perfect. Until Daphne appeared at the edge of the terrace, dressed in a pale lavender gown, holding a small clutch. Thomas watched her carefully. The ceremony continued. Vows spoken. Tears shed. But just as Ridge was about to say, I do, Thomas took a step forward. I'm sorry, he said aloud, stopping the ceremony cold. I can't let this happen. Gasps rang out. Taylor turned. Thomas, I love you both, he said, but you're being manipulated. This wedding was engineered by someone who doesn't care about love or truth. Daphne stepped forward. Don't listen to him. He's mentally unstable. Thomas held up the envelope. She intercepted. Brooke's letters. Altered Mom's therapy records to make her believe she and Dad were still in sync, and lied about Brooke's intentions. This whole wedding is built on a foundation of deceit. Ridge looked from Thomas to Daphne. Is this true? Taylor's breath hitched. Daphne. Security moved in, but Daphne threw something on the ground, a smoke bomb. Chaos erupted. Screams filled the air. When the smoke cleared, she was gone. Scene 6. The aftermath. The wedding was called off. Not because Ridge no longer loved Taylor, but because truth had shattered illusion. Back inside the mansion, Ridge sat in silence. I'm sorry, Thomas said, walking in. You saved us, Taylor replied, taking her son's hand. I can't believe I didn't see it. Ridge nodded. You did the right thing. Thomas shook his head. I almost didn't. I thought maybe letting you to be happy was more important than the truth, but I couldn't let another lie ruin this family. Steffi stood nearby, cradling Hayes. So what now? Ridge exhaled. Now, we rebuild. On honesty. Thomas looked out at the garden, where petals still fluttered in the breeze. Maybe that's what I needed to come home for. Not just your wedding, but to finally set things right. Scene 7. One last surprise. Later that evening, as the family tried to process the day's drama, Hope found Thomas alone on the terrace. You did the right thing, she said softly. Feels like I ruined everything. She shook her head. No, you protected your parents, and the family. That takes courage. They stood in silence. Are you staying in LA? She finally asked. He looked at her. Do you want me to? Hope's Gaze was unreadable. Liam and I are over. You were right. We were never truly honest with each other. Thomas stepped closer. And what about us? Hope didn't answer right away. Then she whispered, stay. Let's see what's possible. When nothing's a lie. Final scene. The future of Thomas Forrester's The moon rose over the Forrester estate. Thomas stood with a new sense of purpose. The villain of the past, the outcast, the obsessed designer he had returned not to destroy, but to redeem. The wedding may have been halted, but something else had begun. A new chapter. For Ridge and Taylor. For Hope, and most importantly for Thomas Forrester. Daphne returns with a dangerous vendetta. Thomas reclaims his place at Forrester Creations but who sabotages his designs. Hope's feelings grow, but so does a secret she's keeping from Thomas. Brooke demands answers. Will Ridge finally tell her everything? Thanks for watching this video and please subscribe our Bold and Beautiful Update YouTube channel for more update news.